Hello everybody, I'm really excited to share the recent addition to my automobile family. This 1984 Mazda B2000 Sundowner, and Sunrise Red as the color is known, and it's got just 107,000 miles. It's a true survivor and a real cream puff, and I'm so happy to make it mine. But I think really though, with old vehicles like this one, it's best to think in terms of vehicle stewardship instead of vehicle ownership. I'm going to keep this little red truck in stock condition, and in fact I've already begun work on it to bring it back to as good a condition as it can be. It's got great bones, but it's needing some TLC. Of course, that's no surprise with any vehicle this age. Yet it's also clear to me and anyone who sees it that this one owner truck was loved and cared for the past 34 years. I myself have never seen one cleaner, and despite its dents and a few other blemishes, in such nice condition overall. Just love looking at it, I know. I've had a man stop me at the gas station to check it out. He once owned the same year and model truck. A salesman at a truly high-end boutique dealership near my work yelled to me as I drove past him with my window down, "That's a nice Mazda truck!" I'm usually not one enjoying or seeking attention. I usually run away from it, but this has been really fun. My first vehicle was an '80 Chevy Love mini truck. I co-owned that with one of my brothers. We really regret selling it over 20 years ago. It was just really fun to drive and practical and easy to work on. However, unfortunately, the Isuzu built engines in those trucks were not good. But because of that, I was forced to learn to become a shade tree mechanic, and have not looked back. And after all these years, I still find it really gratifying to work on my own cars. So for far too long now, I've been longing for a little truck like this again. And the search is over. I found it at a local public auction. It was a donation vehicle to support OPB, Oregon Public Broadcasting, and I was the highest bidder at $1,000. When I got it home, I poured over it, going and on over its condition, and just in general felt like a kid on Christmas Day. I checked the tires first, safety first, and noticed a really unusual brand name and tread pattern. I immediately assumed they were old, and proof of just how old was the manufacturer date on the sidewall, 286, which translated as February 1986. So yeah, super old. The tire manufacturer sometime in the early 2000s went with a 4-digit date code, which shows the week of manufacture and the year. So how those ancient tires held up all those years is really beyond me. There was only a little sidewall cracking on those. So that was job one, to get new rubber on this puppy. I stuck with the original size, again, in wanting to maintain the truck's unmolested original state. 205/75/14. That's not a common size these days. I learned that it's mostly used on trailers, or trailer tires, but I found a set of 4 all-season tires, as you see on the truck now, that I'm happy with, especially considering the limited choices out there. And the truck really rides nicely on them. So this is the regular length, regular bed, which I prefer. I like the dimensions of the truck in this configuration, and I really dig these tie downs. These tie downs are just really practical, and you get your tarp on it. We're going to drive this truck frequently. We'll be making lots of runs to the hardware store, landscaping materials, yard debris, disposal runs, and I've been driving it to work too. I just cannot get enough of it. Let's take a look at those hubcaps. I really dig these dog dish style hubcaps. Just a really straight ahead design, clean, no nonsense. And I have plans to refinish those steel wheels to bring back more of the gray color and less of the surface rust. Like everything else on this truck, the exhaust system is original, and even had the original heat shield intact. But I had it removed by an exhaust shop because the mounting bolts were completely rusted on and no amount of penetrating fluid was getting through them. The entire shield was rattling so badly. This truck has plenty of rattles, creaks, and squeaks, which is part of the charm, but that was making an intolerable noise, so it had to go. As we move around the truck, we'll see dents of various sizes and paint in need of reviving, and I have plans to take care of all of that, especially to bring back some luster to the paint. The windshield wiper linkage was not working. Both of the wipers were not working. So the passenger side spindle's frozen. I wasn't able to fix that. But I was able to get the driver's side working again. So I can drive down the road in our northwest rainy weather and be okay. I'll get a used wiper linkage from a wrecking yard to fix that. The windshield is cracked, but same thing there. I'll get one from a wrecking yard. All right, let's take a peek inside the engine bay before we look at the interior, and then I'll fire up the engine. So there it is, the massive 4-cylinder engine pumping out a whopping 77 horsepower. But it's a torquey little engine, and that's where part of the fun in driving it comes from. It was running pretty rough on the drive home from the auction. I fully expected that. I just needed to get home. That's all I cared about. And as always, I purchase some parts locally, some online. It just depends on who has what the cost is, delivery time, and all of that. So now it's running nicely with new spark plugs, new plug wires, new ignition coil, new distributor cap, new rotor, new fuel filter, which is by the gas tank. And that thing had to have been the original one. It took me forever to remove the inlet and outlet hoses from it. As a matter of fact, I cracked it, then had to cut the hose back, and it was just an hour and a half on my back. But that's what you get into when you're working on cars, old ones, new ones, doesn't matter. So I also adjusted the carburetor, the idle speed and air fuel mixture, and reset the timing. It was way off. It read 0 degrees before top dead center, but it should read 8 degrees before top dead center. So severely retarded, which in part was the cause of reduced power uphill. But it's really nice how well such simple machines respond to a tune-up. It's really great. There's very little valve noise, but nonetheless, I'll check on that. I'll check the valve lash and adjust it as needed. Yet another project for another day. But I'm getting there. And I don't think the camera's going to show it very well, but there's a lot of oil covering the block. We'll need to sort that out too, where that oil leak is coming from. I don't believe it's the valve cover. I think it's something a little deeper than that. And just, with its age and everything, it just desperately needs a bath. So I'll take care of that. And, differential fluid change, transmission fluid change. Gotta get that taken care of as well. So I'll be curious to see what it looks like when I drain those fluids. Thick, black, alien-like gooey substance, no doubt. The coolant checks out fine, but the lower radiator hose is looking pretty old, so that's on the to-do list too. But despite this sort of a fairly long list of things to work on yet, these little trucks are just really a joy to work on. You have so much room for your tools, your hands, and your arms. You can really get in there and get stuff done without having to remove a lot of things out of the way to get to what you need to replace, repair, whatnot. It's just awesome. So if you have a basic set of tools, really, and a repair manual, you're more or less good to go. I've also worked on the suspension. New shocks all around, new sway bar bushings, and new sway bar end links. That really helped tighten things up and cut down on the body roll a bit. Just again, trying to bring it up to its former glory. The rest of the suspension checks out, ball joints and such, so good to go there. The interior is even better than the exterior. And you got to remember, this is a 34-year-old truck. The bench seat has very little wear. There's a rip there you can see, but overall very clean, very nice shape. The carpet is especially in nice shape. As you look at it and feel it, you can imagine it's really not that far off from its original condition. The steering wheel shows very little wear, and amazingly there are no cracks in the dash. The door panels, they look amazing. They're all intact, no holes cut for speakers. The only thing showing real wear are the door handle insets. The plastic is disintegrating, and as with everything else that needs replacing, I'll do my best to track down a used set. The shifter is great. Great condition. There's no wear on the shift knob. The rubber shift boot is also crack-free and looking good. The ashtray is damaged with that odd hole crack in it. But again, track down another one. So something's missing, quote unquote, from the interior that you might normally expect to find our radio. I know, it sounds funny, but, and a clock. Back in the day, you could save a few bucks on the purchase price by foregoing those things. And also, even though it was an option, there's no AC in this truck, and I'm quite fine with all of those things not being there. Besides, even if the truck included AC as an option, there's not much chance it'd still be working. All right, we're gonna fire it up. It idles high at first, then I'll kick it down, and it does take a while to warm up and to idle smoothly. It's your typical older 4-cylinder engine. There's some engine vibration, but nothing you wouldn't expect for a vehicle this age. So here we go.